Bitcoin is dumping hard today, touching under 60K, as miner and government sell pressure mixes with the news of the long-awaited Mt. Gox liquidation. Are we heading lower? Despite the price collapsing, Bitcoin continues its rapid adoption and recognition outside of the United States, while also coming to the center stage in America, as inflation is the #1 topic Americans are concerned about heading into the election this year. Are you buying the dip? Welcome to Bitcoin Daily. I'm Dante Cook, head of Swan Business. Big tech is taking a big dump today, as stocks like Nvidia are down over 6% with heavy insider selling. Not too different from Nvidia, Bitcoin's price is taking a nosedive today, touching just below 60K. And the reasons aren't too dissimilar. Today, an announcement came out that nearly $9 billion worth of Bitcoin from the Mt. Gox hack will be released to creditors starting in July. Some believe that these coins will be quickly dumped onto the market as they are heavily in profit. Others don't think so. We'll try to track the movement of these coins and see what kind of sell pressure this will have on Bitcoin. And that's not all the selling that's happening. The German government also began liquidating its 50,000 Bitcoin that it seized, worth over $3 billion, adding more sell pressure to the Mt. Gox sell pressure that's baked into the pricing today. And that's not all, folks. Following a halving, pricing pressures increase for miners. They tend to sell a lot more of their Bitcoin to fund operational needs, as the amount of profits that they make in Bitcoin fees or Coinbase fees is cut in half. And you know what that's led to? Miners selling. Miners sold over 30,000 Bitcoin, $2 billion worth, in June alone. That's the highest amount this year, dropping reserves to a 14-year low. Barefoot Mining CEO and Bitcoin mining expert Bob Burnett explains this really well. When Bitcoin drops to 62K, it means miners enter limbo and the first circle of Dante's hell. Hey, at 61K, they descend into another level of hell. The heat turns up and profuse sweating commences. At 59K, you will hear their whimpers and cries for mommy. At 57K, they reach level 6 and their flesh begins to bubble. At 56K, they plead for a mercy killing and an end to the misery. At 54K, they reach the full depth of hell and turn to ashes. He ends with a funny quote: "The phoenix will rise from the ashes, so don't worry." That just goes to show the competitive nature in Bitcoin mining in general, and why all of these concerns about Bitcoin miners consuming all of the world's energy are completely overdone. Because when energy is expensive, well, miners can't fund their business and they shut off. And that's where AI and Bitcoin differ. Despite all of the news focused on how much energy Bitcoin mining uses to power itself, not as much attention is being used to how much energy AI is using, which is more energy than countries like Argentina, Australia, Taiwan, and Italy. Over the next decade, there's no doubt that AI is going to create a lot of wealth. But Bitcoin is going to be the tool that actually allows you to protect your wealth. And as we always say on the show, this is a great opportunity to zoom out. 20 and 30% drops are just par for the course for the upward volatility that you get by holding Bitcoin over the long term. And over the grand scheme of previous cycles, things seem to look pretty consistent. And the long-term thesis that people have put out for Bitcoin is continuing to play out as nation states, corporations, and leaders begin to adopt Bitcoin platforms. A large German bank, Bayern Mitte, just hired a Bitcoiner as a CEO, Andreas Streb. This bank has over $5 billion in euros in assets under management. In other news, like in Suriname, a woman named Maya Parbo is running for president, and she intends to put the country on a Bitcoin standard. And not too dissimilar from Maya, Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, has already put this playbook out there. And after adopting Bitcoin ideals and allowing for free currency competition and Bitcoin to be an option to be utilized in their country after years of hyperinflation, Argentina just had its first week of zero inflation in food and beverages in over 30 years. And with prices and inflation being the #1 topic Americans are concerned about, according to a recent survey heading into this year's election, you don't think a pro-Bitcoin candidate is going to have favor with a majority of voters in America? Think again. Bitcoin continuing to spread against this political and economic backdrop is almost inevitable. So instead of seeing red and thinking things are bad, See it as an opportunity to implement your long-term strategy at a cheaper price. And if you don't have a strategic plan for retirement or zooming out for the long term, please join us for our webinar this Thursday with Senior Research Analyst Sam Callahan, one of the brightest minds in Bitcoin. The webinar is at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, where Sam's going to be going through things like, is the traditional 60-40 portfolio dead? Do you have a strategy for your retirement portfolio? And as always, we're going to run the numbers and not just tell you what we think on how Bitcoin could perform in your portfolio and help you to minimize your tax liability through products like the Swan IRA. So again, join Sam Callahan and Swan private team members Stephen Lupka and Terrence Yang for our webinar on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. The link is in the show notes. And again, the webinar is free. And with that, we're signing off for today. This is Dante Cook with Swan.com. Happy stacking.